Today is session 5, God can be trusted. And I guess this is a theme that runs through all the promises of God. God is a God who can be trusted. In chapter 10 of John, Jesus used the image of sheep and shepherd to explain that he alone is the one who can be trusted. Now, in those days they didn't farm as we did. The shepherd would spend all day with his sheep and he would lead them to food and water, and they responded to his voice because they knew their shepherd and the shepherd knew the sheep, and so a real bond developed between the two. In the picture, Jesus refers to himself as the good shepherd, the one who would be willing to lay down his life for his sheep, as against a hireling who has no relationship with the sheep and would run away as soon as any danger approached and just leave the sheep to their own resources. The reason God can be trusted is that we are his sheep and he loves each one of us. Probably one of the best examples of being able to trust God is King David. David's son Absalom rebelled against his father, got together an army and was out to kill him, take over the palace. Now David was forced to flee and hide in caves where he relied on men who were loyal to him to bring him provisions. But David knew that he was the one that God had chosen to be king, and so he simply trusted God, and he wrote these words, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." In other words, God's watching over me. I don't need anything else, despite my situation. The words, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil because you are with me." That very much describes his situation. He was in danger of his life, but he trusted God. In the end, of course, it was Absalom who was killed and the rebellion failed and David was restored to the palace. Some of you will be familiar with this poem by Carolyn Joyce Carty. One night a man had a dream. He dreamed he was walking along the beach with the Lord. Across the sky flashed scenes from his life, and for each scene he noticed 2 sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to him and the other to the Lord. When the last scene of his life flashed before him, he looked back at the footprints in the sand, and he noticed that many times along the path of his life there was only one set of footprints. He also noticed that it happened at the very lowest and saddest times of his life. And this really bothered him, and he questioned the Lord about it. "Lord, you said that once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I've noticed that during the most troublesome times of my life, there's only one set of footprints. I don't understand why when I needed you most, you would leave me." The Lord replied, "My son, my precious child, I love you and I would never leave you. During your times of trial and suffering, when you see there is only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you." God can be trusted.
My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest friend, but wholly trust in Jesus' name. Christ our Lord, cornerstone, weak made strong in Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of When darkness seems to hide His face, I rest on His unchanging face. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. My anchor holds within the shall come.